Hey Fam, so I've gotten all the wraps lined up in the correct order, and I did find a couple of wraps that I had missed some tear seals on. I have them in the press, but what I wanted to show real quick was this little trick. So the centerfold was detached, and I had to reinforce it with Tengujo. Now what that means is I don't have holes anymore for my staples. So if you don't know, on your capable staple tool, you actually have holes the correct distance of where your staple prongs are supposed to fall. And you can use this to straighten out your staples. But what I did is I took the page underneath the wrap and lined the 2 pages up, and thank you, Jack, and used a pen to create new holes. So, excuse me, Jack. So now if I move this, you can see I have holes in the place I need to for the center wrap where I filled it in with Tengujo. So just a little trick if you didn't know that on the capable staple tool. All right, before we start reassembling, here's another little trick for you. So here's one of the wraps where I had missed doing some tear seals at the bottom, and with the book dry, I went ahead and placed in some Tengujo, and to keep anything from sticking, I used this silicone paper. I then folded the silicone paper over, pressed it for a little bit within my Immaculate Comics pressing boards, and the glue is now dry. You can see I'm touching it, nothing's sticking, but the page is still a little wet. And if you notice, I got these waves, and these waves have been a nuisance to me for a while. But what I figured out is once the glue is not sticky and I need to dry this page, is I kind of followed Captain Larry's method. Is I take 2 magazine boards, lay them on my press, then I take a piece of Bristol board, lay on top, and then place my wrap on top of that. And then I just do the same thing in reverse. Is I lay a piece of Bristol board on top, then my 2 backing boards, and then I press it. And I'll show you the results. Okay, so it's been in the press for about an hour. And yeah, see that it is completely flat, not warped or anything, and ready to be trimmed. Alright, Fam, so we're ready to put this book back together. I have set up my pins in the foam core that you've seen me do before on previous videos. I've gone ahead and started the first 2 wraps. So if you notice, the center fold is actually a tipped in page, and when you lay, I'm trying to keep everything aligned as I slowly insert them. You can see where the tipped in page actually sat a little higher than the rest of the book, and that's why you got all these frayed edges and there's a tear in the corner here. So that's kind of interesting that the centerfold is a tipped in page. Okay, so we will continue on. I have everything laid out in order here on the side, and I'll just simply turn them over and start inserting them. All right, so let's get all centered ourselves. Deep breath, good posture, because this is nerve-wracking to say the least. And with it being a single staple, My fingers being short, it's going to be very difficult when we get to the larger pages. These tipped in ones are pretty easy. Again, trying to keep everything aligned as I go so as not to kind of wallow out those staple holes. Like I said, this is going to be the hard part. That went pretty easily. And if you're wondering, what I've done is I have one weight down here kind of holding the foam core, and then I have another one right here. And actually what these are my comic book stands that I use for auctions and stuff. If you're ever interested in these, you can get them from Red Wolf Collectibles on Instagram. Super great guy, great product. I love being able to display my comics using these during my auctions and stuff. I had this one custom made. I'm not sure where the back plate is. There's back plate somewhere. But yeah, my little logo, Peace, Love, and Comics. Logo there on the side. This is for wider comics, but yeah, really great product. Go check them out. You can get anything printed on here. So Paul, I could see some of your nice all-star having a nice pretty display. And that center one I know is going to be problematic, that center, because it's a tipped in page. What I also noticed was I had 3 tipped in pages and then 1 tipped in page, which is the centerfold on this side. So the book is going to be thicker on this side than that side by 3 pages. I did go through each of these wraps because like I've said before, when the staple comes through, it doesn't take away the paper, just folds the paper over. So sometimes during pressing, those holes can close up. So I did go through each wrap. Like on this one, you can see the holes kind of closed up. And this shows definitely how bad the printing and cutting was. I mean, the offset colors and you know, look how bad that was miscut back from the factory 83 years ago. Some of these original stains, I think, lightened a little bit, but I think the whole paper lightened through our bathing techniques. I like having the edge kind of fall over. And I use foam core for quite a number of projects around. Alright, this is one where the holes disappeared on me. I see one hole. There we go. And this is one of those first few wraps where I had a little bit of ink loss. Barely noticeable though, and you know, is if you send this in to get graded, is CGC going to count off? Probably not. They do take more of a notice of the cover and ink loss and stuff versus the interior. And this looks actually pretty natural, I mean, compared to a lot of the other printing defects that we've seen with this book. And here's where it's a little bit more noticeable. Again, these blues, Peter reached out to me after my first video and said, be careful of the blues. I'm like, okay, thanks for telling me now. But I've never had that happen. I've done a couple Captain Marvel books. I've never had that happen. So maybe it's the age. I'm not sure. All right, here we go. This is the first wrap. All right, and now the cover. I do have a couple of layers of Tengujo. So let me widen those holes a little bit. There we go. All right. Here is our staple. We're going to use our capable staple tool to make sure that we have it spread out correctly. All right. And what I'm going to do too, 1 second. Okay, I had to take out that take out the center wrap and get that staple in. Here we are. I feel like we're nice and aligned. You can see the miscut. There's not a lot we can do about that, of course. And we'll just see about getting this staple bound down. Make sure I got everything as aligned as best as possible. Such a thick book. One staple to hold everything. All right. Yeah, that looks good. Looks good. All right, so our staple is off. So when we go to fold this book back together, we have to be a little careful. All right, what I'm going to do now is put this in the humidity chamber, and then we'll do our final press.